China has always been a land of great change. Once it was a mighty empire, strong and powerful. But things changed, and it became a socialist republic. Long ago, China faced hard times. It lost wars to Western countries and Japan. Important places like Hong Kong and Taiwan were gone. It was a time of defeat, and people felt worried. But then, hope began.
In 1911, something important happened. The Wuchang Uprising started and spread quickly. This ended the Qing dynasty, a big change for China. Then, they started a new government called the Republic of China. It seemed like a fresh start, but there were problems. The new republic found it hard to work smoothly. They didn't have a strong center, making things difficult for the country.
After the fall of the Qing dynasty, China was left without strong central control. Different warlords began to take over parts of the country. Each of these warlords had their own army and ruled like kings in their regions. This led to many problems because there was no one true leader to unite the land. Instead, China became divided with many leaders and little order.
At the same time, foreign countries still had a big say in China. Many Western powers had treaty ports, areas where they could trade freely. They also controlled important things like railways. This made many Chinese people angry because it felt like the country was not under its own control. Nationalists wanted China to be strong and independent without foreign influence.
The lack of a strong central government meant that warlords could do almost anything they wanted. This was a time of chaos. People in different parts of China lived under different rules, often depending solely on the warlord in charge of their region. These warlords were more focused on their power rather than the well-being of the nation. The situation was confusing and hard for ordinary people.
Seeing Western powers benefit from China's riches was frustrating for many. The Chinese economy was run partly by these foreign countries. Ports and resources were under others' control, and this kept China from fully developing on its own. The nationalists at that time were upset because they wanted China for the Chinese people. Lots of youth and intellectuals started finding hope in new ideas to bring back China's dignity.
In the early 20th century, regional warlords held actual power in many parts of China. They collected taxes, maintained armies, and even waged wars against each other. Ordinary people's lives depended heavily on the decisions of these warlords. The central government was weak, with limited influence over its own vast territories. This era became known for its instability and conflict among rival warlords.
Western influence was not just about economic control. It was deeply embedded in daily life. Western countries had established laws in their controlled areas, often disregarding Chinese authority. People started to dream of a China free from such pressures. Some believed that removing foreign influence was the first step to rebuilding their nation. Please remember, you can receive a complete transcript of our podcasts if you click join and support us. We greatly appreciate your help.
As China found itself in troubled times, ideas from around the world began to influence its society. Global movements like socialism and Marxism appeared inviting. The year 1917 Bolshevik Revolution in Russia showed many that change was possible. It was a time when people were looking for answers to build a better future, and these ideas brought hope for something different.
These ideas didn't stay just as thoughts. They became actions, especially after the May 4th movement in 1919. This event was mostly about students who took to the streets to speak for their country. They wanted fairness and strength for China, without foreign control. This movement became really important because it pushed more people to think about nationalism and socialism. It was a significant step in shaping China's path ahead.
During this period, a young Mao Zedong was gaining knowledge and experience. He was aware of these movements and at the time was a library assistant in Beijing. The atmosphere of change and new ideas influenced him deeply. Mao began to see socialism as the path forward for China. His journey from reading about ideas to believing in them marked the start of a new era in his life and China's history.
Mao's journey shows how important these times were. The May 4th movement marked not just the rise of nationalism, but also introduced Marxist ideas to the people, including Mao. These events helped form the beliefs of many future leaders. With rising nationalism and the appeal of socialism, China was ready for big changes. The people were eager to see where these new ideas would lead their nation.
When the Communist Party of China was founded in 1921, it marked a big change. Under Mao Zedong, the party started with just a small group of intellectuals. Their first aim was to form unions and spread ideas among students and workers. Mao saw the power in these groups and started to think about how the party could grow and make a real difference.
At about the same time, the Kuomintang was rising in southern China. Sun Yat-sen was its leader, and he had strong anti-Western views. This caught the eyes of the Soviet Union, which wanted to help. They offered weapons and advice because they thought an anti-imperialist China would help them. This was how the First United Front came to be, allowing communists and the Kuomintang to work together.
In these early days, the Communist Party focused a lot on reaching out to the working class and forming unions. They wanted to build a base among the common people. Mao Zedong was deeply involved in these moves, observing where the strengths lay. He started to believe that peasants had a lot of potential to drive change, and that they could be leaders in the revolutionary movement.
The Kuomintang grew stronger with the help of the Soviets. Sun Yat-sen also allowed communists to join his party, which created mixed feelings. Some thought it was a good idea, while others worried about the alliances. This partnership meant that communists could learn from the Kuomintang and aim to unite China under one rule. They were eager to push for a China that had both national and international respect.
Chiang Kai-shek became an important leader, especially with his goal to unite China. He aimed to defeat the regional warlords and tried to end their control. This was known as the Northern Expedition, and it started a new chapter in China's fight for central power. At this time, both the communists and nationalists cooperated for a common goal, but not everything was smooth. Tensions were there, and trust was weak.
The Shanghai Massacre in 1927 changed everything. It was a sad moment when Chiang's forces turned against their communist allies. Many communists lost their lives or went into hiding. This event showed the deep division between the two groups. Mao Zedong saw the need for a new plan. Instead of focusing on cities, he turned to the countryside and began a strategy of rural guerrilla warfare.
Mao's focus on rural strategies was a new path. He understood that the peasants could be a powerful force in change. By moving to the countryside, he started to build a base among the rural people. This was a big shift from traditional ideas. He saw that using the countryside and the support of peasants, it would be possible to grow stronger and make significant changes over time.
The change in strategy helped Mao rally support among the poor peasants. They faced many issues and found hope in Mao's promises to change their lives. By creating a strong base in the rural areas, Mao aimed to gather resources and gain strength slowly. This strategy was different, but it proved to be much more effective in building strong foundations for future moves.
The Chinese Communist Party faced many challenges in its early days. The government wanted to stop the spread of the socialist ideas. They launched several campaigns against the Jiangxi Soviet to take back control. Mao and his followers had to find new ways to fight back, and their methods were quite different from traditional warfare. Instead of direct battles, they used clever guerrilla strategies.
These strategies were a way for the communists to survive and keep their movement alive. But things got tougher when Chiang Kai-shek's forces grew stronger. The communists had to make a hard decision. They needed to leave their stronghold. This led to the Long March, a difficult journey across China. Even though it was hard, it made the group stronger and more committed to their cause.
During the Long March, many faced hunger and danger on the way. Still, they kept going. This march became a legendary story that showed the strength and bravery of those involved. It wasn't only about moving from one place to another. It was about proving to themselves and others that they could endure anything for their beliefs. This journey eventually led them to a safer place to continue their fight.
Around that time, a new threat appeared as Japan began a full-scale invasion of China. The Japanese forces were strong and their attacks were widespread. This invasion made the nationalists and communists realize they had to work together to face this common enemy. So they formed the Second United Front, even though there were still some trust issues between them. Together, they wanted to defeat Japan and protect their country.
After World War II ended, China faced new tensions, leading to a return of civil war. The fighting was between the nationalists and the communists. The nationalists had a strong start with help from the United States. They got weapons and support, which gave them an upper hand at first. But as time went on, they had problems. Corruption and poor management made it hard for them to keep people's trust.
Meanwhile, the communists were getting stronger. They had the people's support, especially among the peasants who were promised land and better lives. The communists gained key victories in important battles. These wins made a big difference. For example, the battles at Liaoshen and Huaihai helped them weaken the nationalist forces. Step by step, the nationalists lost ground, and the communists moved closer to victory.
By early 1949, the momentum was with the communists. They had more trained soldiers and more supplies. In April, the situation changed when they crossed the Yangtze River. This move was crucial because it opened the path to capture major cities, including Nanjing. The nationalists, realizing they were losing, moved their government to Taiwan. Many people followed them, hoping to find safety and a new start there.
On October 1, 1949, Mao Zedong announced the founding of the People's Republic of China. This marked a new era with Beijing as its capital. The red five-star flag became a symbol of a new China, free from the past struggles. For Mao and his followers, this victory meant an end to a painful century and the beginning of building a nation based on new socialist ideals. It was a time of great hope and change for the Chinese people. To hear more stories like this and support our work, please like this podcast and leave a comment. Your engagement helps us bring more content to you. If you want to access full transcripts of each video, consider joining our YouTube membership by clicking the Join button. It supports us directly and gives you more perks. Thank you for being part of our journey.